rainforest likely formed during the Eocene era. It appeared following a global reduction of tropical temperatures when the Atlantic Ocean had widened sufficiently to provide a warm, moist climate to the Amazon basin. The rainforest has been in existence for at least 55 million years, and most of the region remained free of savanna-type biomes, at least until the current ice age, when the climate was drier and savanna more widespread. 4. 5. Following the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, the extinction of the dinosaurs and the wetter climate may have allowed the tropical rainforest to spread out across the continent. From 66-34 Maya, the rainforest extended as far south as 45 degrees. Climate fluctuations during the last 34 million years have allowed savanna regions to expand into the tropics. During the Oligocene, for example, the rainforest spanned a relatively narrow band. It expanded again during the Middle Miocene, then retracted to a mostly inland formation at the last glacial maximum. 6. However, the rainforest still managed to thrive during these glacial periods, allowing for the survival and evolution of a broad diversity of species. 7. Aerial view of the Amazon rainforest. During the Mid-Eocene, it is believed that the drainage basin of the Amazon was split along the middle of the continent by the Purus Arch. Water on the eastern side flowed toward the Atlantic, while to the west water flowed toward the Pacific across the Amazonas basin. As the Andes Mountains rose, however, a large basin was created that enclosed a lake, now known as the Solimoes Basin. Within the last 5 to 10 million years, this accumulating water broke through the Purus Arch, joining the easterly flow toward the Atlantic. 8. 9. There is evidence that there have been significant changes in Amazon rainforest vegetation over the last 21,000 years through the last glacial maximum, LGM, and subsequent deglaciation. Analyses of sediment deposits from Amazon basin paleolakes and from the Amazon fan indicate that rainfall in the basin during the LGM was lower than for the present, and this was almost certainly associated with reduced moist tropical vegetation cover in the basin. 10. There is debate, however, over how extensive this reduction was. Some scientists argue that the rainforest was reduced to small, isolated refugia separated by open forest and grassland. 11. Other scientists argue that the rainforest remained largely intact but extended less far to the north, south, and east than is seen today. 12. This debate has proved difficult to resolve because the practical limitations of working in the rainforest mean that data sampling is biased away from the center of the Amazon basin, and both explanations are reasonably well supported by the available data. Sahara Desert dust. Windblown to the Amazon. More than 56% of the dust fertilizing the Amazon rainforest comes from the Bodel Depression in northern Chad in the Sahara Desert. The dust contains phosphorus, important for plant growth. The yearly Sahara dust replaces the equivalent amount of phosphorus washed away yearly in Amazon soil from rains and floods. 13. Up to 50 million tons of Sahara dust per year are blown across the Atlantic Ocean. 14. 15. NASA video. NASA's Calypso satellite has measured the amount of dust transported by wind from the Sahara to the Amazon. An average 182 million tons of dust are wind-blown out of the Sahara each year, at 15 degrees west longitude, across 1,600 miles, 2,600 kilometers, over the Atlantic Ocean. Some dust falls into the Atlantic, then at 35 degrees west longitude at the eastern coast of South America. 27.7 million tons, 15% of dust fall over the Amazon basin. 132 million tons of dust remain in the air. 43 million tons of dust are wind-blown and falls on the Caribbean Sea, past 75 degrees west longitude. 16. Calypso uses a laser rangefinder to scan the Earth's atmosphere for the vertical distribution of dust and other aerosols. Calypso regularly tracks the Sahara-Amazon dust plume. Calypso has measured variations in the dust amounts transported, an 86% drop between the highest amount of dust transported in 2007 and the lowest in 2011. A possibility causing the variation is the Sahel, a strip of semi-arid land on the southern border of the Sahara. When rain amounts in the Sahel are higher, the volume of dust is lower. The higher rainfall could make more vegetation grow in the Sahel, leaving less sand exposed to winds to blow away. 17. Region at least 11,200 years ago. 18. Subsequent development led to late prehistoric settlements along the periphery of the forest by AD 1250, which induced alterations in the forest cover. 19. Geoglyphs on deforested land in the Amazon rainforest, acre. For a long time, it was thought that the Amazon rainforest was only ever sparsely populated, as it was impossible to sustain a large population through agriculture given the poor soil. Archaeologist Betty Meggers was a prominent proponent of this idea, as described in her book Amazonia, Man and Culture in a Counterfeit Paradise. She claimed that a population density of 0.2 inhabitants per square kilometer, 0.52/square mile, is the maximum that can be sustained in the rainforest through hunting, with agriculture needed to host a larger population. 20. However, recent anthropological findings have suggested that the region was actually densely populated. Some 5 million people may have lived in the Amazon region in AD 1500, divided between dense coastal settlements, such as that at Marijo, and inland dwellers. 21. By 1900 the population had fallen to 1 million and by the early 1980s it was less than 200,000. 21. The first European to travel the length of the Amazon River was Francisco de Orellana in 1542. 22. The BBC's Unnatural Histories presents evidence that Orellana, rather than exaggerating his claims as previously thought, was correct in his observations that a complex civilization was flourishing along the Amazon in the 1540s. It is believed that the civilization was later devastated by the spread of diseases from Europe, such as smallpox. 23. Since the 1970s, numerous geoglyphs have been discovered on deforested land, dating between AD January 1250, furthering claims about pre-Columbian civilizations. 24. 25. Ondimar Dias is accredited with first discovering the geoglyphs in 1977 and Al-Suranzi, with furthering their discovery after flying over Acre. 23. 26. The BBC's Unnatural Histories presented evidence that the Amazon rainforest, rather than being a pristine wilderness, has been shaped by man for at least 11,000 years through practices such as forest gardening and terra preta. 23. Terra preta is found over large areas in the Amazon forest and is now widely accepted as a product of indigenous soil management. The development of this fertile soil allowed agriculture and silviculture in the previously hostile environment, meaning that large portions of the Amazon rainforest are probably the result of centuries of human management, rather than naturally occurring as has previously been supposed. 27. In the region of the Xingu tribe, remains of some of these large settlements in the middle of the Amazon forest were found in 2003 by Michael Heckenberger and colleagues of the University of Florida. Among those were evidence of roads, bridges, and large plazas,